So, hello everybody, good morning, hey, bonjour, dobry den, salam alaikum to Riyadh. I would like to welcome you to our operator webinar, which is named The Benefits of IP Voice-Based Telephony. So, to give you an idea of the agenda of today, I will show you that we will first talk about the challenges you will be facing with the traditional telephony. I will give you a quick overview of the voice over IP technology. You will see what are the benefits of VoIP and, of course, how Kerio Operator can help you to benefit from the voice over IP and how you can use the Kerio Operator in a voice over IP environment. So let's first start with an overview of the traditional telephony. You may have faced and you may have seen one of the following three words and names. These are all, let's say, synonyms for the antiquated signaling over old infrastructure. So here in Germany and basically in Europe, you always hear the word ISDN. In other countries, you will hear more the PRI or BRI, and POTS means pretty old telephony system, which is basically the old analog way. So what challenges are you usually facing when we are talking about the traditional telephony? First of all, you always require an on-site technician, which means you usually need somebody from the telco company to install the stuff in your office or at your home, or you need some specialized technicians who are knowledgeable about the traditional telephony things. Also, it requires a special wired infrastructure. So you can't use your, for example, an usual Ethernet network. This is a special wiring you need. And so when you are thinking about getting a traditional telephony PBX in your office, you need some additional wiring, which is usually not there. Also, it's pretty monopolistic because all the telephone lines are owned by the local telephone company. So you are pretty dependent and you need on the local telco companies. Also, it is pretty expensive. When you think about traditional telephony, you normally have contracts, for example, with ISDN, which are pretty out of financial scope nowadays. And of course, you normally have long-term contracts. So I can give you an example of a long-term contract also concerning the traditional telephony PBX. I know customers who have leased their PBX for the traditional telephony for, I don't know, 20 years or so, and they are paying each month an enormous amount of money only to have this PBX still up and running. Next limitation is that you usually only have a limited number of lines you can use when you would like to establish phone calls. So you need to add additional lines and additional phone numbers if you would like to use more than only a specific number of lines. Also, you are not pretty flexible as it requires a special hardware to convert the telephony signal which comes to your building. There is always some sort of endpoint owned by the telco, which is converting the signal to a signal which then can be used with an PBX. Also, it takes sometimes a not small amount of time for implementing such a telephone system, because you need to, as I said, have a special wiring. Also, you usually it needs some time with the telco to establish the contracts, etc., etc. Also, it always requires an on-site phone system, so you are not that flexible when you're on the road, or when you're, let's say, have a remote worker. It is not that easy with a traditional telephony to get those people connected. Which also means if you are, for example, moving, let's say, to a bigger office or to another city or whatever, it's not that easy to take your traditional telephony with you, because everything is fixed in the office where you have first established this system. So when you are changing to a new office, you start basically from scratch. And last but not least, also it is not that easy scalable. If you would like to scale your telephony system, you need additional cards, you need additional lines. Maybe your PBX is not big enough anymore for using it with more lines, so you will also have additional costs. So let's take a quick overview over the voice over IP technology. First of all, you will be faced with three typical statements. One is the session initiation protocol. The short name is SIP or SIP, which is the popular VoIP protocol for establishing calls over IP. Next statement or next word you will always face is codecs. Codecs means that the voice is encoded. It's an encoding technology to optimize voice or video transmissions. So you are pretty flexible with those codecs depending on, for example, the bandwidth you have at the place where you are using voice over IP. Or if you're, for example, on the road, on the run, you can use codecs which give you more compression even over a small internet connection. And the last thing is the Internet Telephony Service Provider, or short ITSP. This is basically the provider of the voice over IP services, and I will explain you this a little bit later. So, voice service providers, which basically means that those people, and we have here some examples like EasyBell, which is pretty known here in the German-speaking sector, VoIP Unlimited, Zipgate, I believe Zipgate everybody knows. So basically, those people are bridging the voice over IP signal to the public phone network. This makes pretty much sense, as you would like maybe to call somebody who is not on a voice over IP network. So they guarantee that you are able to use your voice over IP connection to call people on, let's say, traditional telephones. It is basically internet-based, which gives you many choices, which I show you later on. And of course, they have pretty flexible service offering. So what are exactly the benefits of voice over IP? First, let's say the voice over IP peering. So it is a call handoff between the ITSP or PBX system to bypass carrier tolls. So you are no longer dependent on a wiring from your traditional telco. Usually you can also use nowadays different telephony companies, but if you are choosing a different telephone company, they always need to pay what we say the last mile, because it is still owned by the old federal phone company. This is no longer necessary and no longer valid if you're going with voice over IP, because you just need an internet connection. And so those providers do not need to pay the last mile, which is owned by the old traditional telcos, which obviously offers them and enables the ISPs to offer you pretty low rates. Also, your pretty flexible plans. You only pay for what you need. You can choose usually between, if you would like to have some amount of minutes you would like to use, you pay per lines, or you even can say you pay only for phone numbers, which gives you, for example, the possibility, if you just need one phone number, you pay less than if you have more phone numbers. So you only pay what you want. This offers you also many choices, because there are a lot of voice over IP providers. We have on our homepage, in the support section, you can find some ISPs we have tested, which work pretty well with the Kerio Operator. So you can definitely find the voice over IP provider that is right for you. And this definitely means also you have only low capital expense, because basically you do not need any hardware or infrastructure. You even can use your mobile phone with a soft phone client on it. You just pop in the server and the credentials you need to authenticate with your voice over IP provider, and then you can establish your first phone call. Also, there is no, let's say, specialized hardware necessary, because you just use your already existing internet connection. So no extra wiring, no endpoint which needs to be installed, converting the signal from the traditional phone lines. You just use your internet connection. And also this gives you the ability to set up telephone connectivity within minutes. You just connect to the ISP with your credentials and you can just start making phone calls. We have heard from some of our customers that, let's say, they spend most of the time when they establish a voice over IP connection with Kerio Operator, most of the time is spent by unpacking the PBX from the box or unpacking the phones they would like to connect. And it gives you lots of choices where you would like to deploy your IP PBX. You can do it in the cloud, as for example Kerio is also offering Kerio Operator in the cloud. You can use it in a data center, or even you can install it on site. You can have a tiny little operator box sitting in your server room, in your office. So you are pretty flexible what you would like to use. And this directly brings us that voice over IP works basically anywhere. So you see this guy sitting at the beach and he's doing a phone call, and this is exactly what you can do with voice over IP. You are free where you would like to establish calls, because you just need to connect to the ISP somehow via an internet or even via a cellular connection, and off you go. You can establish the phone calls. So it doesn't matter if you would like to use it from your desk, from your computer, or even from your smartphone. Voice over IP offers you also advanced capabilities. So you can integrate it with your CRM or information system. You can have voicemail mailed directly to your email account. You can create phone conference rooms where you usually need to pay lots of money for. And you can also have the presence status or other unified communication functionalities. If you would like to sell voice over IP to your customer, it also gives you multiple choices because it expands your service offering. You can offer voice over IP to your customer. So it's easy to brand and to resell. Some of those companies like EasyBell or VoIP Unlimited, they charge you and then you can recharge your customer. So you can be a reseller for their voice over IP services. It is easy to deploy and manage, and it definitely saves your customer money. Here you have a short overview of the yet said things I told you. So you can see the differences in this overview of the traditional telephony and voice over IP. I will not go now through each point because if you would like to have this as a reference, you will get a follow-up email also with a link to download this presentation. So now let's switch over to Kerio Operator, our enterprise class phone system without enterprise complexity. So just to give you a topology overview how this will work. So you see you have an IP network and the zip call is going via your Kerio Operator box, which is here, for example, the V300. This establishes a connection via the zip trunk, via the VoIP provider, and then you can call, for example, somebody on his cellular phone. Kerio Operator is basically a VoIP-based phone system that provides powerful yet affordable enterprise-class voice and video communication capabilities. So let's break it down into 4 segments. First segment will be capabilities people love. Second will be serious cost savings. 3 is the simple administration. And the 4th is flexible deployment. So let's start first with the capabilities people love. You can do audio and video calls with the Kerio Operator soft phone from your computer, directly from your computer. You can do dynamic conference calls. You can receive voicemail by email. You can easily and flexible establish and configure call forwardings. It is pretty bring your own device friendly, as you can, for example, install a soft phone client on your iPhone or your Android phone, and you can use it with the Kerio Operator PBX system. And we have also integrated an easy integration, for example, with the Salesforce software. Also, we can say you can take your office desk phone with you. So remember the guy sitting on the beach? Your computer is your phone. You can do voice and video calls. You can listen to the voicemail. You can do call forwarding. You can see a call history. And the soft phone client we offer is available for Mac, Windows, Linux, or you can use it via a web browser. And your business number is mobile because you can bring your own device, and the calls because the calls just use the data network, not your call plan minutes. So you're not spending any minutes you may have on your normal mobile contract because you are using your Kerio Operator to establish the phone call. And of course, there are soft phone clients and also a soft phone client from Kerio for iOS and Android. This brings me, or segues me, directly to the cost saving point. You are completely bypassing the traditional telcos. So zip-based calling offers big cost savings over traditional telephony, where you remember I said to you that it is pretty monopolistic when you are going with the traditional telephony companies, as you now have the freedom of choice which company you would like to use for doing your calls. You can easily compare and choose the correct and right company based on minutes, based on lines, based on phone numbers you like the most. It is pretty light on equipment because Kerio Operator has pretty low system requirements, and there is no specialized hardware or cabling necessary. You can use your existing Ethernet network. So you just plug in the Ethernet cable, and then you'd fill in the credentials for the zip provider, and off you go. You can establish your phone calls. And of course, you have a phone freedom. You can choose the phone that fits your budget. When you look on our homepage in the support section for Kerio Operator, we have a great variety of phones we are supporting. Basically, you can say we support any voice over IP capable phone. So you can choose if you would like to have, let's say, a low cost one, or if you would like to have some, I don't know, video phone or something like that. Just choose the phone that fits best in your budget. Over 100 popular business phone models are supported, but supporting means at that point that they could be auto-provisioned. Auto-provisioning basically means that you just plug in the phone into in an existing network outlet. It detects that there is a Kerio Operator in the network, and it will automatically configure so you can do a phone call right after 5 minutes after you just plugged in the phone into your network outlet. Also, you can get rid of the desk phone altogether if you are using the Kerio Operator soft phone on your computer. After saving costs, I will now segue over to how easy it is to administer. I already mentioned that you can have an automatic phone provisioning, so you just plug and play set up for popular phone models. Also, we have a secure remote web administration, so you can fully configure your Kerio Operator to your needs. You have various logs where you can look if something is maybe going wrong, and you can also get status notifications if there is maybe something not working that well as you thought with your operator box. So also the maintenance is pretty low. So with one click, you can do updates of an existing operator installation. You can do automatic remote backups to save your configuration and all the settings you have done in your Kerio Operator. And the same way, it is pretty quick restored. Also with the centralized My Kerio, which is a service from our side, which is free of charge, you can easily manage multiple Kerio operators. So you have everything in a centralized web interface. You get system and status change notifications. You can configure backups. You can back up recorded calls to My Kerio, and also you can establish and configure the voicemail to email routing. Kerio Operator is also pretty flexible when it comes to deployment. So you can, for example, use it in the cloud. Kerio itself is offering Kerio Operator in the cloud, or if you have it somewhere installed in a data center, as you can virtualize it, for example, you can also offer this virtualized phone system to one of your customers. Hardware is, you can also buy a hardware box from Kerio, or you can create your own hardware box, because you can download also the software and bring your own box and install it on the operating system as a bare metal installation. Or, as I said, you can even virtualize this PBX somewhere on an ESXi environment, or if you have Hyper-V running. So there is no need to spend money into specialized hardware, you can even virtualize it. So you're pretty flexible when it comes to the deployment of Kerio Operator. You can use it in the cloud, you can buy a hardware box, you can use the software and create your own bare metal hardware box, or you can virtualize it. As a summary of this presentation, I would like to say, so first of all, traditional telephony is old school with many disadvantages. VoIP is nowadays affordable and pretty easy to deploy, and in combination with Kerio Operator, you will get features the users will definitely love, and also you can add the voice over IP offering to your managed service offering. And of course, as you do not need a specialized guy for telcos, let's say IT admin, take control. So if you can maintain and configure, let's say, a Kerio Connect, you can also easily configure and deploy a Kerio Operator. If you need more resources, and as I said, this presentation can be downloaded. You will get the link in the follow-up email. We have collected a few resources which are maybe interesting for you. The last bullet on this slide is a link to a YouTube video. You can search in YouTube for Kerio Operator certification training. There we show you how you install and deploy Kerio Operator. In that case, it is a virtualized one. And for example, how you need to configure the zip trunking, how you need to configure the extensions, etc., etc. Thank you that you have joined this webinar today.